Um, Microphone. Microphones make me nervous and yeah. Um, but thank you for coming today. My name is Taylor DeJarly. I am one of the trainers, technical assistant specialists for Sister Skies, or whatever they need me to do, I do. They so we and I've been with them for almost 6 years now. They have different federal and state contracts, and I just help them on the different contracts that they have. This is a fairly new one, the Native Business Academy, where we previously had a federal contract with the SBA and the Office of Native American Affairs, where we provided these we call them empowerment workshops, and they were very intense, very packed 2-day trainings. They would be 2 days, 8 hours in person, and then 6 hours for 2 days virtually. And it was a lot. So we kind of broke that down into these shorter, more reasonable trainings. And then, sorry, I keep going back and forth, but a little more about me too is I telework from Montana. So I live on the Confederated Salish and Cooney tribes. I live among them, but I'm enrolled in Navajo and affiliated with the Assiniboine tribe in Fort Belknap. So I'm way south and way north, but I live on the west side of Montana. And I have been there my whole life, and I love it there. And so the Native Business Center and Academy is based out of Spokane, Washington. So I get to come to Washington and do trainings here. I graduated from the University of Montana with a bachelor's in management and entrepreneurship. And I'm trying to go back for my master's. I'm just avoiding taking the GMAT. And I don't think I'm gonna get past it. And I've got 2 kids. I have a 8-year-old daughter who's in 2nd grade. She's 8 going on 18. And then my son is 4 and he goes to Head Start in Arlee, and I'm just glad we get to be in this building. I love Head Start. They played a big role in my daughter's life and my son's life, and they're so, it's just so cool. They're so smart, and they it's just something it's rare to come by. Other than that, I will let Tracy introduce herself.
I'm Tracy Keeper. I've been with Sister Sky for as long as Taylor has. I do the thanks. But I'm a Spokane tribal citizen. I live on the Spokane Reservation. I actually live in Spokane 4 days a week for Sister Sky. They're Spokane tribal citizens. You might know them from their cotton. They do hurt people. They've been in business for 25 years now, and they different tribes started asking them to come and do business training and share their story, and so then they added the contracting side to provide small business Native Americans, and we did that for 5 years with SBA contract. And then we took what we thought was the best parts of it and made it shorter, because during that time period we were told that the classes were too long for entrepreneurs. They can't take that time on in that business. So we've been able to do that with the Commons contract. Right now we are just found out that half of our funding is cut, so we haven't figured out how we're going to supplement that yet. And so we have technical assistance for entrepreneurs in Washington State. until June 30th. Full time, and then well, the state hasn't told us exactly how much money we're gonna get, they keep saying that. Yesterday, the 28th will know, so that we can try to figure out how we're going to, how we're gonna find other funding to supplement the technical. So we're just here to help you guys. Oh, and I always forget that I have a master's in business administration with an emphasis on healthcare management. And when Sister Sky recruited me, originally I was going to work on some IHM contracts. And I worked on a couple of those, and then I worked on a language contract, and then the Office of Native Americans at the NPA, and they were like, Tracy, we really need you to do that one. And then out of my preview, but I thought about it, and I thought, well, you can't have your shirt off the top if you don't have that. And so how am I going to relate to them? And I have, in most of my positions, I work for my tribe, and I actually work for the Colorado Research Department for 40 years. And where, after looking back on all my positions at the time, but was always the one that was a startup program. So in essence, that's pretty much starting to and I had I ran a trading post. I've had it before. I still do, but I don't really own it. I haven't gone full on. So I do some bookkeeping on the side for some people that have been for years. I keep saying I'm gonna take it out. Oh, and I'm married and have 3 adopted and 6 pets.
I don't like puppies.
I know.
But it must have been, I'm wearing Montana sweatshirt.
Oh,
Well, it's so great to meet you guys. I'm gonna get all emotional. I took your empowerment workshop, and I was like, why are these 2 ladies looking familiar? And I remember seeing it when I did that years ago, but I never pursued it. So now, because of various reasons, so now I'm wanting to start up the business of making Native American gauntlets, needed ceremonial and traditional purposes. My name's Mary Bush. I'm a tonight's fellow member of the Colvin tribe, mother, Army veteran. Don't retired when I was like 40, so I'm not really doing whatever I want to do. I did travel for about 4 years till my artist mentor passed away, so I haven't done nothing for about 7 years now, 7 years I think this year. And we did fall sailing, so I learned to do a lot of artwork, selling to various stores all over the United States, back east and south, everywhere. So we got my hands into that. I do have a business degree, but that's probably 40 years ago. So I basically just raised my kids and did that. I actually used to run one of the stores pretty close and Keller store manager years ago. So I have some experience. It's just been a lot of my experience. I haven't per se in an 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job. So just getting over the little jitters and being able to get back into the public again. And I'm interested in taking this and your other classes so I can actually get this business going. And it's the business plan that I guess I'm fearful of. I really dwelled on it yesterday because I took a class from SCORE online. It was a 3-hour business plan. And I think what's been holding me back is my fear of not knowing the answers, and I'm kind of in ways that I need to know what's right, and it keeps, because I gotta guess, and to me, per se, it's lying. I don't know why, because you're supposed to tell the truth, and this happened. I'm having a hard time maneuvering past that little bump, but I think I'm able to do it now. So any help from anybody, I'd really appreciate it. But it looks like I'm in the right place here today, as meant to be. Thanks. That's not really crap.
We couldn't tell. My name is Kelly Campbell. I'm the assistant program manager here for the Early Head Start site. Born and raised here tonight. Family Phillips out of Richland, Blunt family. I business wise, one of my best friends owns a restaurant and she's growing, and my other best friend going into her mental health and private practice. So I was actually telling her, like, sure, you can, but I think she'll be here next week. I've always wanted to do type of like real estate rental class, and so much needed whether for businesses or homes in our area. But I'm here just to kind of learn whatever I can. Going back to kind of what you were saying, like I was a big part of starting this, adding 15 more employees in a year. Any little knowledge, I'm grateful for.
Leonel Marcial, I work for the Economic Alliance, business outreach specialist. What I do is pretty much go door to door for business, how they're doing, then to find out if we can finally agree, how can we assist, make the business better, pricing, inventory, smart techniques, and training.
Mason Duke, also with the Economic Alliance.
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I'll speak up a bit.
We're men, we're covered.
Oh,
I'm older.
yeah, also with the Economic Alliance. And like Leonel mentioned, we do work with businesses throughout the county and economic development work. We're a nonprofit organization. And a portion of that work includes bringing in educational opportunities, such as the one that's being put on today for the benefit of prospective business owners or existing business owners, anyone who has interest or is looking to learn. So we're grateful to the Tribal Head Start for hosting us here today in their lovely new facility. And grateful to Tracy and Taylor for coming out here with the Native Business Academy and Sister Sky Inc. to lead this class.
Yes.
Just like the edge. Yeah.
Oh. Awesome, thank you, everyone. So the building your business foundation is really, from when you're, I don't want to say, it's from when you just have an idea and you want to take that idea and build off of it. Some that join us may already have an idea, some may already be in business, some may not know what they want to do, but they want to do something. So this is really just going to take us from the idea stage, and we're just going to work through parts of a business plan. When you mentioned about Mary, about a business plan, we try to tell our participants that you don't need a business plan to start a business. There's some people who just need to just go out there and start and do their business and kind of build that later. But it is a good can't think of that word, a good roadmap, a good something to kind of keep you steering clear and where what your goals are and what you need to do next. So the purpose of this is to help with business registration. So to help business owners navigate tribal, state, and federal regulations, and then understanding your NAICS codes. So we're gonna do a small demonstration on how to find your NICS code and how to utilize that data with the Census Business Builder into your business plan. Building a strong foundation, so to show how proper registration impacts taxes, funding, and credibility. We're gonna do step-by-step process to provide a clear guide to simplify registration and the NICS code selection. And the NICS code is I have a slide on it, but it's the North American Industry Classification System used by the Census Bureau. Avoiding mistakes, so highlight common errors that could affect compliance or funding, and then just to empower our entrepreneurs, to equip them with the knowledge and tools for successful business execution. So at any time, just stop me if there's any questions. We do have, for the agenda, we do try to leave like an hour at the end for TA, but that TA can happen throughout the training, which would kind of fall into that time. So that's okay too. So we're gonna go over essential steps to start your business. We're gonna go through naming and registering, choosing your business structure, getting your employer identification number, your unique entity identifier, your business checking account, and general liability insurance.
To be able to go.
So when it comes to naming your business, this could be a difficult choice. I think it's a big decision. We've had one participant come and join, and she wanted to register her business, but she couldn't decide on a name. And we set up meetings, and we went, through different, talked through it. And then I never heard from her for a year later. And then she came back a year later and was like, I still haven't registered my business because I can't come up with a name. And she was getting contracts, business was coming in, and she wasn't registered yet. So it actually took her about 3 years to finally come up with a name and register her business. She sent me an email and was like, guess what? I was like, no way. I can't remember her business name, but I was
It happened.
yeah.
I've struggled with, I don't know how many names. I got one on the other business and this one, and it just, sometimes the simplest thing is, I think, just make it even harder for me.
It is hard. And so we're gonna kind of go through these different tips for naming your business, and then we'll visit ChatGPT. I think I always say it wrong, GPT, and kind of show how that can help us with naming our business. So we want to prioritize clarity and communication. So we want to ensure that your business name clearly conveys what your business does. So you want to use terms your ideal audience will immediately associate with your industry or products. For example, instead of using Phoenix Horizon, we can use Phoenix Digital Marketing Agency. And we want to incorporate main keywords. So we want to include keywords relevant to your industry for better searchability and instant recognition. So words that your audience would search for if they were looking for a business like yours. So like a bookkeeping business would use ledger, balance, or numbers. And this names such as Redtail Accounting. So I throughout this, I kind of refer back to my mom's small virtual bookkeeping business. She started it in 2010, and it was just like, a few clients here and there, and until it really took off in she had a few big clients in 2019 and 2020 when the pandemic hit, and all this, funding came available and different, what would you call them? Grants and whatnot for small businesses struggling. And they didn't have their books in order, they weren't prepared, they, didn't do their taxes for the last, 2 years, 3 years. And so she gained a lot of clients from them and it really took off and now she's got 2 full-time employees, a few part-time, and so I'll refer a lot back to hers. And so she struggled with her business name too, and she wanted to use, which I think I'm going into a different part here, but she wanted to use she wanted to use her middle name, which is Kitsushini, and in Navajo that means red house. And so we also encourage our business owners to use their native language if they wish to, and then they could do DBAs as that business in the English name. So if she had, Kitsushini Enterprises, she would do DBA as, Red House Accounting, but I can't remember why she didn't go with that. Anyways, they like reconstructed the highway by her house and they put up these new fancy road signs, and she was driving home and it said Red Tail Lane, and she was like, why don't I name my business Red Tail? And at that time it was there wasn't many businesses with that name, and now there's quite a few. But yeah, so she went was Red Tail Enterprises, and then she does DBAs as Red Tail Accounting, and then she has Red Tail Creations for her beadwork and sewing. So we want to highlight, value and benefits. So we want to emphasize the unique value you bring to your customers and your name. So for an example, instead of Quick Fitness, we could try Fit for Life Coaching. And we want to appeal to your ideal audience. This is where we talk about, using your language as your business name with DBAs. And we want to reflect your brand's personality. So choose words that embody your business's personality traits. So is it fun, professional, innovative, or bold? We want to match the tone of your name to how you want customers to feel about your brand. So a fun brand might use playful words such as sap or fizz, and then a professional brand may use legacy or summit. And then we will want to encourage using, descriptive words. So any descriptive phrases that paint a picture of what your business offers. So for example, Golden Threads Jewelry suggests quality and craftsmanship. We want to combine keywords and personality. So mix and match keywords with descriptive words or personality traits to create something unique. Combine unexpected terms for a memorable and creative name. I've seen a lot of pretty cool creative names out there. There was one that a plumbing company used. I can't remember what it was, but I should have took a picture of it. It was their logo and all that, and like that's genius. And then test your name with your audience. You can ask for feedback from people who represent your ideal customers. You can choose a name that resonates positively and feels relatable to them. So you can survey options like Zen Wellness Studio versus Harmony Yoga Collective to see which aligns better with their expectations. And then to be unique but authentic, so stand out from competitors by using names that are distinct yet true to your business. If incorporating cultural or personal elements, ensure they align with your story and values. And then test the name with descriptions and taglines. So you compare your potential name with a tagline or short description to see how well they complement each other. This helps clarify your business's value and when the name is seen or heard. So I want to go into, see if I can put this to work. Kind of spend some time on the names because this is where I gotta play with my. this over here. I don't know if you are or how many are familiar with chat.
Oh, chat daddy.
Chat daddy. Yeah.
Call it what? Chat daddy.
Chat daddy.
I know them. Everything's a call, what do you call it?
I can't remember, but I use it for like social media posting. I have a hard time putting like my thoughts and words into something that sounds like good, just or makes sense. And I've used it to help people come up with business names. You know, the one lady that didn't name her business for 3 years, we did this a couple times and nothing. And I have to say the name she came up with, I was like, really? I was just glad she had a name and got her business registered, but I think like that many years for this. But we could do like
So is that an app where you just Google that and then go from there?
yeah, chatgpt.com. You have to they do have free versions. I was on the free version for a while, but then I was using it too much, so it was like you gotta calm down and like wait. I don't know how long to you can use it again.
Oh,
But the company pays for it now. But I did use it like a lot before it came to that point where it made me pause.
I use the free version, my coworker signs in, even on the free version, which she highly suggests because it will save. Yeah, and you get questions and then it gets to know you. Which is kind of weird.
I'm unfamiliar, so is that the same thing as app? Or you don't know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's do provide names for a coffee business with a native twin.
Sacred grounds.
And I believe that's already a coffee
Coffee.
a coffee business name already. So we got Red Earth Roasters, Cedar and Smoke Coffee, so like my brother's business is Koshka Analytics, which is what he named his son too, Koshka, but that is in Dakota means young man. And then trying to think of a service industry.
By roads. Better add comedy. Yeah. Add comedy.
Add comedy, or like a comedy business.
Add comedy. Yeah, add comedy to everything. Make it like-
Beerly caffeinated.
Too much things.
Oh my gosh. Hot Residence Cafe, sipping on ceremony. Oh my God.
Hot red mess. That one.
Woke like a. These would be good t-shirts.
Right?
So what's the difference of this or just a natural Google search? It keeps track of.
It keeps track of it and more, so actually AI. Person.
Oh, okay.
But like it can, you can tell. It can look at me. I mean, that's what you can do.
I think Google would lead you to links.
Rather than-
Whatever you do.
So I
I was
could,
hesitant about it because I was worried about it gathering unnecessary data from my computer. Maybe
No.
at my business is like
With
with that Elon Musk thing going on. That's
I
why
don't
it's like, I don't want to do that.
I don't think,
Cause like
I
that,
don't
he was
know.
co-founder of it. And he was off it, so I was like, what's going on?
I don't believe in your computer on computer. It will be wrong, but it is very useful.
It's give me a lot of time to use my brain cells trying.
It's amazing. It writes you a letter, resume, reference, like.
I use it for
everything because I get stuck, right? And I can't think of how to do it. I used to spend so much time in the student. I was like, and then now I can say, hey, respond to this, tell them this, and they can sound so nice.
Right,
Oh,
It will write you a business plan.
I
Right?
have
Business
yeah.
plan for.
are you serious?
I've done
And
that
that's not
before.
considered like cheating or something? It's using.
2025, but it's
Yeah. I don't know, that's like cheating, but I guess when I grew up, I've got all these little hurdles to be retrained here.
it's a tool. So-
Yeah, that's all, yeah.
Jump on it, you're gonna get left
Yeah,
behind.
yeah.
I
I like
all my parents that I was like,
I had no idea about
why stress? Oh,
Yeah, it saves so much time, time's money.
Mhm.
your business plan? Yeah, I told,
Oh, heck yeah,
I helped a guy
write that down.
in Arizona. He had a rough draft with all this information. I just put that in there and then.
And you just flow with it, right? I want my business plan to be this and that and have this, and it just.
It's wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, and then you can take, sometimes it gets stuck. Sometimes it won't, doesn't come up with what I wanted to. But then it really gives me a starting page, so I can start writing.
No, I am behind time. You always say, never find nothing out till like 5 years later, something happened to do something. Yeah,
And then
It'll help you with.
oh, definitely, I can
software
see.
formulas, like, I can tell you that I don't know how many thousands of dollars. Excel training on this, we've got a lot, right? But if you don't use those programs every day and use those formulas, you forget them, right?
I'm just trying
You
to
can
figure out.
tell, you can ask chat to do a formula for Excel or any program. And it tells you how to do it.
I've been so many years trying to do that in Excel. Oh, what is that formula doing about the? This parenthesis or is this in which cell? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to redo this class again and go from the beginning. I mean, and use it forever.
So it's
Cool,
just
I'm
a-
glad you brought this up because I didn't know how.
It's a really helpful.
Yeah, sounds like that.
And I did
I
My
make
grand-
those t-shirts, so no one steals them.
right.
My friends open the coffee shop.
I didn't even.
I already sent it to her, like, we need these.
I created a business plan for my grandma. She was trying to apply for this grant and I didn't have time and, I didn't want to tell her that. So I tried it out with chat and it came up with the business plan. She sent me what, all the information she had. And then I emailed it back to her. She's like, wow, like, you're so amazing. Like, thank you so much. And I was like, Grandma, I use chat. I was like, it wasn't me. And then she's like, what's that? And I was like, I'm not getting into that with you. So
So if we went for loans or grants, they don't really, the lenders don't really know that's it and they accept it. If you're looking for working capital or
I think it's pretty,
standing by. Oh,
At this point, I think everyone kind of somewhat expects it. I mean, you try to do it at a college level, yes, they have
Yeah.
that will catch it.
Right, you can't do that for, yeah.
Well, and think of it like a rough draft too, because you'll want to check over what it gives you and iron out any rough edges or errors that it might have, or tweak it to fit exactly what you're looking for.
Gee, I get right on the computer like, oh, what? Yeah, I've been struggling, how many years, let's get this thing done.
I mean, you can have it right at the different grade levels.
I mean, yeah, 'cause sometimes it's like, I'm like, I do not sound like that, I'm like, I don't sound that
Right.
smart,
I always
Tone it
know how I
down.
talk.
I'm third grade level.
I like to tone it down, don't sound it.
calm down, Chad.
But yeah, it's amazing.
So like I could even do like, let's see, this kind of, so we have another training called Mastering Marketing Essentials. I'm just gonna dive a little bit into that. So like I can ask it to create a business description for the red rope. The owner, you see kind of what it gives us. You can add more like into that, like into your description. So it gives us a whole business description. It's native-owned coffee company, proudly serving cold brews with even bolder personality. Founded by. So you could like take that for your business description and you could tailor it, you know, you can change words. It doesn't have to be exact, but I think it gives you like a good starting point. You know, you don't have to think super hard on that. And then you could ask it to make you a I'm drawing blanks.
I was checking other business plans and see what they wrote, but then I was like, well, how can I tweak it, but it's not saying the same as all these other businesses. And it all basically asks the same information. in the business plan, so I was stuck at him. But now I'm stuck with this.
Then you can ask it to make a mission and vision statement for you.
So we can just tweak that. It's amazing.
I know, I'm just like, wow. See, it was meant to be. It's
See why we call it chat.
That was fun. So on our mastery marketing essentials, you go through this and the 4 Ps and this. Okay. But that is always fun. So making an official, you know, where do you register? You know, some states and some tribes are able to register with the tribe and only you can choose to only, you know, register with the tribe and not with the state. So with the tribe, you would check the economic development office or Indian preference office, the tribal jurisdiction and annual renewal requirements. With the state, you normally would go to the Secretary of State, you have state jurisdiction and annual renewal requirements. Although you can register with the tribe and not with the state, we do recommend registering with both, with the tribe and the state, because there are some grants or funding opportunities that require you to be registered with the states, because they could be state funding. In Montana, we have the Indian Equity Fund grant, where they used to, and it may have changed, but they do require you to be registered with the state. And so we were helping we're helping business owners apply for that grant, and we had a few that would have been fully funded but it was like pulling teeth to get them to register with the state. Like they did not, and we're like, but they needed the funding, we're like, you can't get the funding unless you. So we finally convinced them, but it took a lot to have them register with the state.
I think it's a dollar.
Yeah, I have the same problem in American like when they grant, trying to get them to raise and have to hire them to get the payment signed. They're very difficult to do. But
And,
this trust, I think, I don't know.
and then, so, and not every tribe is the same with their business laws. So, but if you wanna do business off with it. But, if you wanna stay, like on my reservation, I can stay on my reservation. Never have. If I see myself trying to do business. But there are other tribes that have treaty rights, and they cannot get a water business license, because then it compromises that treaty right. So, there's fishermen over on the coast and Yakima have a lot of treaty rights. So they have to be, they have to be very careful, to protect those rights. So if they're fishermen and they want to open a retail place, they've got to keep those totally because they can jeopardize the treaty rights.
Thank you for sharing that.
For me, I wanna, convert my garage to my business now, instead of moving over to Omak. I was trying to, they sold the house out to somebody else and got my money for that. I'm just gonna fix that up till I can move. And a lot of times I'm, running into when I'm taking a lot of score classes of asking questions when it comes to tribal, as far as the right answers on what taxes I do have to pay or I don't have to pay. I'm on the res, but my house right now is on fee, and then I'm selling to tribal members, I'm on, and I just can't seem to get a definite answer on.
I would go talk to someone at the tribe.
The tribe maybe an NDF, because I did a travel connect with BIA, and it was just a little piece of paper. There wasn't nothing else they're telling me I have to do, and I'm like, that's anyway. Thought I'd get a certificate or something with the state, but I haven't used it. It's been, yeah, they don't offer one that I know with Combo Tribe. I went to BIA and they.
Did you go to, I think it's a little long, but I think there's a
I'll check.
planning department. But, so. And I could be wrong, I can just tell you what my tribe does. So if I have a business on a live property. And I have to, get on the boundary. Any work that, any business that I do for my home, I don't have to do it.
Right. That part.
So, but if I do for the Boston organization, this is the confidence, then I have to do it. And there, and I tell everyone, business license are, what they're for is to collect taxes. So that's my friend operates a multi-business. And when he does his reporting, he has to do he records his title on that too, but it's not. And then, and when you start that, what you'll have to do when your taxes are out, and most likely you have to get on the phone with the one.
Because I tend to run in at Cooley Dam, it's like the jurisdictional issues with various things. It's so weird. I'll go down there to City Hall and some they're like, okay, now you're on reservation, so just go ahead, you're good. And then it's other things, it's like, nope, now you gotta, I'm like, how can one, I have to abide this way, but the other one, no, now we want me to go this way, and it's just so confusing on things. There isn't no definite, even with our ordinance.
And I think,
And I think that made me not pursue the business a lot because I didn't want to go to jail or something. I various things, you know?
I think one way to get around that, so if you tell you something, ask them to put it in writing for you. That way we can go to do your taxes, and then, I mean, it still can come back and tell you as well.
Okay.
But at least you have something. Don't let that be a barrier.
Oh, I've had a lot of barriers that keep me from, it's because I like, if I don't know that long jurisdiction on it.
Like, I, so. But, so if I sell something to someone,
Well, I sell online. And I receive a 1099 pay from Shopify. And then I just report that on that amount I made on my taxes, and then I fill out a Schedule C.
So, but is that different if, like, I have a cousin's name, which I on Facebook, but he's on the reservation? Could he not have to, like, not have to be taxable?
so you would not have to pay, so there's a difference, federal taxes and state taxes, okay? So state taxes would be exempt. So that's excise tax, then whatever the local authority part of your business, right? But federal taxes, you still have to report that federal authority. So, and I think
And it's not exempt?
not federal.
Federal.
Not
Not
federal.
federal, unless you have treaty rights.
Oh,
Treaty
okay.
rights, like, that's what I'm, so I'm, because we've been helping a lot of fishermen, so we know a lot of their rights, like tribal fishermen. Treaty rights, tribal fishermen don't have to pay federal. On that. So.
Kind of business we need to do. Just go down to the Columbia River by my house.
But you have to be on the res that you're enrolled in. So I still have to pay state taxes because I'm enrolled Navajo, and but I, even though I live and work on the res, I'm not from that res. I think that's, I don't know. Oh.
And if I was to vend, if I was to vend to another, like Montana, would I have to go by tribal laws there?
If you're on the river.
You know, one saying yes and one
no,
saying no.
sorry, I got your, I mixed up your question. No, so if you do go on a different res, you do want to check with them. Every reservation is different, and the person that's putting on the event or that you're going to should have that paperwork or that information already for you. Because I've helped, a national conference, and we had vendors there, and I didn't know that the vendors needed a business license with the tribe, the reservation that we were on, and so I had to go back and contact them, say, you need to get a business license here, and they were fine with it, and they did it was only like $10, but I didn't know that, so I wish I would have known that and had that already for our vendors. But when you travel or go, they should have that already for you.
Okay. I have a friend that lives here and she's done a lot of vending, so that's a avenue of hooking up with her, actually two over here. So we got the experience. Hook up with them a little bit, what I know from traveling. If I ask too many questions, let me know, because I've been that way all my life. Everything. Wait, no, I've got another one.
We're recorded. We like the questions, it makes it more.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would blow through this and then we're like, all right, we're done.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes we have problems and people don't ask nothing. It's like.
When they start smart, they know everything.
Right.
Or did we totally confuse you?
Yeah, that's true. No, so far I'm hanging in here like that. I got a star here.
So to apply for a business license, you would go to the Department of Revenue for Washington State. And they have the registration requirements. And then so we highly recommend using the business licensing wizard. It will. They will walk you through. So we're just gonna select Academy. Is that okay?
But for like your realty one, because I do know there's like other, I guess I don't know, but there might be other requirements that you have to. Do. In this way, so like if you're a contractor, contractors have to get L&I and all of the things. This really. Special permit.
Can you get out of that permit if you're doing minors like youth in the employment and training or youth development, all those sort of programs? And they're the ones that have that.
Better payment. Yeah. Yeah, it's only.
And,
So this helps you, so like if you have a business and you plan on business, you plan on doing business, say you're contract. And you plan on doing business in all these different companies, this will help you, what it helps you with is filing the capital. To make sure that you're marking the right one.
So based on your scenario, below is a custom list of Washington State license requirements based on the information you provided.
Now I'm wanting to convert my sole proprietor because of the reason I want to do it is because of my house asset, so they can't take it if something happens. So what would be the easiest to, I was kind of looking into it and it confused me. It said to close down, I had to do a bunch of stuff to close that business down, or is there a way I can just redo it and switch it to a LLC but with a different name? Get rid of that other business, close it down and apply for another license for the LLC and whatever that requires.
Yeah, I think when you go onto the Secretary of State website to set up an LLC, it'll ask you if you have an existing business that you're trying to convert to an LLC, in which case it'll help you shut down the sole proprietorship and basically start up the LLC all in the same. I think that's the case. It's
Okay,
That's
cool.
yeah.
So I would need a tax registration, a Spokane general business, and an Aberdeen general business. And I can just apply now for those.
How much in Montana is like really cheap for this apartment?
Like $50.
And Idaho is very expensive. Like,
Washington.
they can license like $500,000. Here it's $1,000.
How much?
$500,000,
For what?
whole license. But it's
Oh
yours.
my God, are you
You
serious?
own it for the rest of your life and it's all the business you sell the license for.
I can see the land.
state said we don't need a business license, but we know that. But IRS is gonna make you report anything over 600. So, but the business license. So I always tell people, if you plan on making more than 12,000, and even if you don't make it 12,000, get business license. And in a lot of cases, you need to. Now, in your specialty business, you might not necessarily need a lot of.
Would I like to, because I missed out on all those grants and everything, have the 2-3 years in case I wanna, instead of using my own funding, I can get it started a little better. I have a little additional cap, like my heights, you know, instead of going a couple thousand. Keep going. I'd rather be able to apply. I'm gonna try Carol, they said they might be able to help me if I have the business plan and yeah. I miss the economic development, with everything going on, I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year if they have it, but that's what I'd like to do, so. But I'm concentrating on the business license to see how much, because I got a lot of the inventory on. I got everything else. I ran into a situation with that mental illness passing. And others going into the store and taking a lot of the inventory and all the financial records and everything. So I have to see for that deterred me a lot of failures. And some interesting things happen. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm prepared for anything that can happen because I was definitely not prepared for all that. This is running into a lot or not.
It's the eyes like,
Dear Heights, thanks to make the, I didn't want to use commercial, but I think I'm gonna have to start out. The individual here, he's gonna be doing a breakdown. I thought about having my own, but it's too hard there at Cooley Dam that they won't let us have fires or anything. We can't burn, you know, it's just, that's why I want to move, because then I can, you know, burn
Yeah.
fires down high and stuff. So he is open, so I can, that's an option I'm looking into. Once we get to bring in, but at the beginning, I'm just gonna help it. And I think they'll still sell because I seen a lot of fellow dancers and I thought a lot of their outfits were train pan, but there's a lot, and I know the traditional, they said there's a lot of commercial ones out there.
commercials hard to get a needle through.
Yeah.
I try to find the scraps or like the really thin pieces they use for, backing on earrings, yeah. So I get excited when I find.
Yeah, I got a little, I was thinking, oh, using that or something. See, I'm hoping there are some fights for people that do bring it down. I was disappointed on the one company, I pictured the size, you know, especially since I traveled. And what I received for that price was way off what they had me believe it to be, especially for a breakdown. I think I wasn't sure if they'd done a fawn or something. I mean, it was so tiny. I was like, so I'm hesitant unless I can go on first and pick it up by myself. I know some, you know, we have a lot of good hides over there. Just here within a while. But I can't travel. I don't know more. It's too much for me.
You know, it's hard to tell the size of stuff from a picture. I've done that so many times, like buying earrings, and then they like come in and they're like super huge. I'm like, they did not look that big in the picture. So we're gonna go into structuring success. So when you're finding what fits and what, so going through the different business types or business structures, So this is to help us be informed. So choosing the right business structure requires careful consideration and a clear understanding of the process. It helps optimize taxes. So knowing tax laws can help you legally reduce liability and take advantage of tax saving opportunities. And then plan for the future. Your business structure impacts asset protection, tax obligation, and long-term business success. We have our sole proprietorships. These are the easiest to form, and it gives you complete control of your business. You're automatically considered to be a sole proprietorship if you do business activities, but don't register as any other kind of business. You know, so my daughter really wants to do a lemonade stand, and you know, if we were to set up outside our house and she exchanged lemonade for cash, you know, she's in business, or we're in business, and you know, we're a sole proprietor. This means your business assets and liabilities are not separate from your personal assets and liabilities. You can be held personally liable for the debts and obligations of the business. This can be a good choice for low-risk businesses and owners who want to test their business idea before forming a more formal business. You use your social security number to report earnings and expenses, and then it passes through to your individual taxes. It will show up on your 1040 personal taxes, almost as everything else, as everything does. You know, so for when I do my Shopify online sales, I have not registered. I should register with the state or register my business, but I keep saying I'm going to scale back. I need to focus on other things, but I still end up having sales. But I receive the 1099-K and I report that when I do my taxes. And then we have partnerships. We have limited partners and general partners. The limited partner is similar to a silent investor. They invest their money or property in the business, but they do not make decisions about the company or manage day-to-day operations. Then unlike limited partnerships, general partnerships are owned by 2 or more general partners. There is not a limited partner in a general partnership. So generally, all owners exert the same control and have the same risk in a general partnership. Limited partnerships are more structured than general partnerships. You must have at least 1 limited and 1 general partner to operate. And general partnerships are more informal, as you can form one with as little as a handshake. Although we do not recommend that, so we do recommend getting an operating agreement in place and not do gentleman agreements, but getting it on paper on purpose. Even if they're your friend, your relative, we just getting it on paper will, you never know what will happen. And then we have limited liability companies, or LLC. This lets you take advantage of the benefits of both the corporation partnership business structures. It protects you from personal liability and in most instances your personal assets, so like your vehicle, house, and saving accounts. These won't be at risk in case your LLC faces bankruptcy or lawsuits. Profits and losses can get passed through to your personal income without facing corporate taxes. However, members of an LLC are considered self-employed and must pay self-employment tax contributions towards Medicare and Social Security. So these are LLCs can be a good choice for medium or higher risk businesses, owners with significant personal assets they want to be protected, and owners who want to pay a lower tax rate than they would with a corporation. Then we have our corporations. So we have S corporations and C corporations. So these are legal entities that's separate from its owners. Corporations can make a profit, be taxed, and be held legally liable. They offer the strongest protection to its owners from personal liability, but the cost of forming a corporation is higher than other structures. They also require more extensive record keeping, operational processes, and reporting. So unlike sole proprietors, partnerships and LLCs, corporations pay income tax on their profits. And in some cases, corporate profits are taxed twice. First, when the company makes a profit, and again, when dividends are paid to shareholders on their personal tax returns. So they have a completely independent life separate from its shareholders. And they have an advantage when it comes to raising capital because they can raise funds through the sale of stock. They can be a good choice for medium or higher risk businesses that need to raise money and that plan to go public or eventually be sold. So it is a true separation where your business is separate from your personal life. Business has money coming in and going out, and they have a profit or loss, and then your company pays the taxes on that. So when you're an LLC, you can't pay yourself a paycheck. You get owner withdrawals, which cost you more, and you have higher self-employment tax. So when you reach a certain amount, like say, I can't remember, I just looked it up too. Say if your business is making, $65,000 a year, and you're an LLC, you may want to consider making an election to become a small corporation. That way you can pay yourself a paycheck and pay payroll taxes because they're cheaper than self-employment tax. My mom's virtual bookkeeping business started out as a sole proprietor, moved to an LLC, and then in 2020 or 2021, she made the election to become a S corporation because she was getting hammered in self-employment taxes. And then our previous co-worker did that too, and it's a common practice to hire a CPA to do that. The cost for that varies, but like my mom's business, she hired a CPA, and then our coworker used chat and fight for it himself. Yeah, so.
And I think in Washington State, you can have an LLC that elects to be taxed as an S corp as well.
Yes.
Put it right in your LLC.
Yeah, because I think Washington State only, for the tax purposes, only recognizes corporations. So you can basically elect which type of corporate taxation you want your corporate structure to utilize.
I wonder if you still have to do that.
Possible, yeah.
With the best court, don't you have to have articles, corporation and all that, or board? If you by yourself at this court, and you one person?
So you would be the shareholder.
So no, you can do a single owner LLC. The S corporation is like tax. There's a tax selection that you have to do approval from the external revenue. It's not per se a company structure. So when you get a business license, you did say that you can have that in your LLC in Washington.
Well, yeah.
But that's
Because I've
not gonna
seen that
offer-
self-employment tax and so much, and I'm like, oh, you're not really making much with, by the time they get it all back, I mean, you do your work, and I'm just giving them all the money.
The look on your guys' faces, you're like,
I'm like, that doesn't make sense, this is the way to go, another barrier. Wow.
Taxes, okay. So some business requirements, so we have a business license, which we have gone over. So there are also permits. So these are legal authorizations required for specific business activities. such as health permits, building permits, environmental permits. You want to check with their local or state government agencies to determine the required permits. Business names, so we did go through that already. So choosing a business name is crucial for branding and legal registration. File a DBA, which is doing business as, if operating under a different name than the legal entity. So you want to check the name availability through local or national business registries. And then we have trademark and copyrights. So trademarks protect a company's logo or, oh, did I? Trademarks protect a company's logo or slogan from being used by others. So registering trademarks with the United States Patent and Trademark Office secures exclusive rights. Copyrights protect creative works like written content, music, or software. Copyrights are automatically granted upon creation, but can formally be registered with the U.S. Copyright Office. Then we have zoning laws. These laws regulate where businesses can operate within a city or town. Different areas are designated for residential, commercial, or industrial use. We helped a business get a grant to build another another shed basically, and he started building it outside of his zone area without realizing it, and then they came and said it was something ridiculous, like he had to take down what he had and like move over like 2 feet. But they're serious, they were serious about their zoning area. We have health and safety laws. So these laws ensure workplace safety and public health standards. So common regulations include OSHA, which is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, compliance for worker safety, food safety laws for restaurants and food businesses, and fire and building codes for structural safety. You know, so with my little lemonade stand, I would probably need, you know, some kind of food safety or some certification. Insurance, which we'll talk about later too, but business insurance protects against financial losses due to accidents, lawsuits, or disasters. Some key types of insurance include general liability, workers' compensation, professional liability, property insurance, and so on. So insurance requirements depend on industry and state regulations. Confidentiality, this ensures that sensitive business information is protected from unauthorized access or disclosures.
Wait,
Yeah.
see if I'm understanding that. If it's requiring state compliance for your insurance, but your tribal, why would it go off the state then? That doesn't make sense. My brain, like, wait, why would I need a state? There on that for insurance? Say that again? I don't know, because it's good.
So the insurance part, it says, the insurance requirements depend on industry and state regulations.
Right, but if we're tribal, why would our insurance be based on that? I guess my question is, can insurance, if you're a tribal business? No, it's probably their own policy. Is there a way to waive that or get out of that? You still need some type of insurance for your business, but my point is about why would we have to follow the state?
You're probably not gonna find it. That will ensure you.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, these little dots don't connect, but this over here. Okay.
We have non-disclosure agreements or NDAs. These are legal contracts that prevent individuals or businesses from sharing confidential information. So you normally see NDAs like with celebrities and stuff. That's the only time I hear of them. But Let's see what this next slide is. Okay, so we will go through this one and then take a short break. So cultural, awareness, embracing cultural considerations. So having cultural considerations in business means recognizing, respecting, and integrating cultural differences into your operations, products, and interactions. This practice is especially important when your business interacts with diverse communities, customers, or employees. So it helps build trust and loyalty. Customers and communities appreciate businesses that generally respect and uplift their cultures. Strengthens brand reputation. So cultural awareness demonstrates professionalism and a commitment to inclusivity. It encourages innovation. So diverse cultural perspectives can inspire new ideas and approaches. And it fosters ethical practices. So it ensures businesses operate responsibly and fairly, avoiding harm or exploitation. Do I have any question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like her again, I just thinking, sure, why not? What can I think of? Do you think it's beneficial for a tribal business to have indigenous name if your target customers are non-indigenous? Or if you're wanting to promote your tradition and culture, does it hinder it any having that? If you still get used to that within the country? Or personal type choice? That's one of the area I'm going back and forth. Do I want this name? Do I want, no, do I? Am I gonna lose more customers? So most of my target customers, indigenous people, like say, I'm gonna do that, and what I want to incorporate is Omak Stampede, and we have a lot of rodeos around here, even later on go to them. And so some of those would be based on the target customers of rodeo participants, the guests, or the cowboys themselves, or, you know,
Yeah.
so that would be non-indigenous, so. I'm like, oh.
I think it's like a Google search. If it was something unique, and you knew the name, you'd be able to search it and it would pop up. There's not a million of the same one. But if it's so unique that I can't remember, what was that called?
Right,
You know, that's
right, yeah.
I always say go with your indigenous name, but that's my own.
Could be as the main
Opinion,
business
yeah.
name, then do DBA for
Yeah,
the other.
so like my little micro side hustle business is, I go with, Dene Designs. Dene's my middle name, and then it means, the people of Navajo. But like 98% of the time, my customers call it Dime. They're like, here's my product from Dime Designs, and I'm like, yeah.
You're right.
But I've also, because I'm social media awkward, and so I haven't like really gone on there like and addressed it. I just, because I can't put the apostrophe or the right thing you need on there. So I just roll with it. I'm like, all right.
Oh, my grandma and
Dime
grandpa and
Designs.
everybody's born in Canada, so. I go up there to see a lot of family, and I kind of want to incorporate the maternal lineage of my great grandma. It means she gets the power from the water. I kind of wanted to incorporate that, even though a lot of the families are past, but some way to acknowledge her and bring that within my business name. I just don't know how to pronounce her Indian name. I know what it means in English, but you know.
I think it's a fine balance.
Sure.
You don't want something like an insult chain that no one can pronounce. Or
So we have one of our nonprofits in Montana. They have their nonprofit as their indigenous language, which in English it means one heart. And I don't even know how to pronounce it, but they have it, their DBA as one heart.
Well, I was thinking, I started baby boards, and then I'm like, no, too many me doing that too, so I'm just gonna do gloves, because I'm not gonna just that many people being able to make those nowadays, so I was thinking, well, maybe I can find out, because I found out the name for the baby board in that section. So maybe I could do the same with the gauntlets or gloves for the, when I say gauntlets, I always think of, sword people. So maybe they should say gloves and figure out something in our language that would go with that. That's a long
Take 3
question.
years.
Huh?
Yeah, just don't take 3 years.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
I'm already
we
on
have to
seven, so
try
I'm
with
good. Okay, all right.
So we could do a little, chapters in our group. So just like, I don't know how long. Let's do probably 11:45.
Okay.
Kind of like assign. As we assign, participants different business scenarios. But since we have 2 here, we can you can choose the industry you want to do. So if you want to do like your realtor business and then yours. And then just kind of answer the activity in the packet. So the activities in the packet, so if you want to think about what business structure you would choose, and then you answer the focus questions, why did you choose that business structure, and then how does it protect you as a business owner? We'll give about 10 minutes for that. I will stop at, depending on where we're at, 12:30 to do a lunch break if you guys want to. I'll keep that up to you, but we'll take 10 minutes for this activity and we'll come back and we can share them if we want. I will share an example of one. 12 to 10. For example, on this activity, I'm going to talk about if I were to do a lemonade stand. So I chose, I would start off as a sole proprietorship, just to test the business idea. And eventually, if it does good, eventually move to an LLC and get the food safety permits and everything I needed, because in case anybody gets sick off my lemons and tries to sue me, I would be protected. As in that ties into having, business insurance too. But starting off, I would start with a sole proprietorship and then eventually move to an LLC just to protect my car. Yes, that I have. All right, and it's up to you guys if you want to share yours. You're not required to. So
I do have one, I'm just trying to write and eat at the same time.
we had when we did the empowerment workshops, we did these Indianpreneurship pullouts from Onabin, and they had like these different like your marketing story. They had these different activities to do, and we got together like as a team to do them and share just to see how long it would take if we did it in person. Anyways, one of our coworkers, like, we would come back from our a lot of time and share, and he had this like elaborate, like he made up his own business. We just made up our own businesses, and he had I can't remember, it was like Sasquatch something.
And that was before chat.
Before you knew about it, and I was just like, he would come back and like share his, and I'm like, how did like you do that like in our 10 minutes? And like mine was like a couple sentences, or like I was like in awe. And it wasn't until like 2 months later, we were at an in-person event. And we were talking about that activity and like, and he is smart, but I was just like, oh, like, he is so smart, like just to come off without the top of his head. He's like, oh yeah, no, I use chat. I was like, this whole time I was like, he's a genius, like he knows his words and all that. But no, he used chat and I was like, cheater, just.
I know, I wish we would have said something.
I know, it was fun.
I had a question.
Yeah.
When you brought up the insurance. I wonder, would I be liable? Or just, would I just put a disclaimer on my products? I'm concerned about people, you know, they're allergic to peanuts, this and that. Some sort of chemical in a hide, you know, due diligence, making sure I know what are they using to do the hide, so I wouldn't run into anybody having a severe allergic reaction wearing gloves. Is that something I should be concerned about?
I would say a disclaimer, it's like, you know, with when I sell my earrings, I kind of worry about if somebody were to have an allergic reaction too. So I make sure I list all the product and materials I use, like the type of backing. I make sure, you know, I buy hypoallergenic posts and I state that, you know, like this is Backward Plug Skin, we have hypoallergenic posts and the type of beads I use. Just in case if something were to happen, I could say, you know, I stated it right here that this is the materials that I used.
And you don't have to say not liable for allergic reactions or something like that.
No, this is what it is.
Oh,
And if you wanted to, you could, but thinking about it, like
it
maybe
might
I
put
should
you
do
more
that.
into, hey, I don't know, it's just off the top of the head when you talk, I'm like, wait a minute.
I never ever thought of that. Well, because I was never allergic to. But I maybe people are.
Allergy, like all, most of the stuff. Just no gluten, like that.
But I
You
would
put
just
on the
think,
label, warning, bro, but then,
see, with commercial, I think they might use lye or, I don't know. You know, what sort of chemicals they do. You know, it might be, my advantage just to stick to brain can instead, because I ran into, I read something, but they said not to use brain tan in your description of something.
I just say buckskin,
Bucks, okay.
but brain tan is. Like for me, knowing what it is would attract to me because like that smells so good. And
Right. Smoke buckskin.
yeah.
Then they should know.
What?
Okay.
That would be a teeny question, huh?
I gotta come up with some type of questions nobody else is ever asked. I don't know what that is.
Um. We have your employer identification number. So you may apply for an EIN online if your principal business is located in the United States or US territories. The person applying online must have a valid taxpayer identification number. And so you are limited to one EIN per responsible party per day. And so the responsible party is a person who ultimately owns or controls the entity or who exercises ultimate effective control over the entity. So unless the applicant is a government entity, the responsible party must be an individual. So it must be a natural person, not an entity applying for the EIN number. This so this is to help keep your business separate. So you don't instead of having to use your social security number all the time, you can use your EIN number when you're filling out a W-9. And it is easy to get. We do have like a little video of how to apply for one. And it is free. We have run into people who have paid, like $500 to get their EIN number. There's some websites that would, kind of like trick you. My brother almost fell for it. I was like, I thought you guys said this was free. I'm like, did you go to the right link we sent you? Do you have this? Oh, let's watch. You guys hear that? Well, it goes, does this thing come up?
I'll just go online.
It's coming from.
It gets maxed out.
I can email this link if it's easier. It's on our Camp Crier section on the Native Business Center of applying for an EIN.
From what section?
The Native Business Center Camp Crier,
Camp Crier?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Here. And you have to kind of scroll down a little bit. I wonder if we need to update the date. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
And there's some problems that you may run into. For example, my brother was trying to get his EIN number. Well, one, he almost paid for it. They got tricked.
so where is it going? IRS.gov. Why don't you pull up that? Where you?
Now, is this required for all businesses or just one that has employees?
Employees.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't need that if I'm.
Yeah, if you're not planning on having employees and it's just you, you can use your social security number in place of an EIN.
Okay.
So we recommend that you do the EIN and not use your social security number.
Right.
Even if you're a sole proprietor, that would, because you have to, like, W-9 for, some people are gonna request a W-9 from you. And, they're gonna do that for, the EIN.
I'm late now, but you said that would be trademarks or somewhere to click it. Online, something whatever, PTO, what it does, have to trademark or something. And it requires you to use the social security number when you're trying to, get a trademark. And I'm like, then it's there for everybody and it's not till afterward you get it and then you can ask them to delete it. And I'm like, then it's just for everybody.
I think an EIN number for even sole proprietors, if they have a it's easier to get through that process.
And for grants and all that, I mean.
Yeah, so when that. Oh, wait.
I got it.
Save.
So when you
I'll
get
save
this-
this for you.
The CIN, you're just gonna have forever. For the business. For whatever business. If you get new ones with each business.
But not per se TBAs.
No, not.
Remember that recorder's on.
This is a story about my auntie.
Okay, I gotta write that down.
So to make sure we don't it doesn't happen what your brother almost did on anything we're doing?
Oh, yeah,
Is it the website address where you gotta make sure there's an S on it, that it's a secure site? Is that how you tell?
it's where it's, so let me go back, I'll show you the,
I can't see that far.
if I go this way and we, you know, I put it in Google, it's gonna have all these sponsored, EIN application tax form, EINfiler.com,
I know you don't do
IRS.
sponsored.
yeah, so we wanna go to the, make sure it's the irs.gov, not IRS e-filing, e-file tax filing.com, we wanna make sure it's the irs.gov and it'll look, the IRS website.
I know, we had someone on one of our, personal platforms. 5 or 7, $500.
Email from somebody saying something, and I know that's, you know, like I know that has to be a spam or something. I don't know that person.
I, brother also had trouble getting the number because they kept saying, or wouldn't give it to him, and so he, you know, jumped on Zoom and he was doing everything correctly, and so they had to get on the phone and figure out why they weren't accepting it. And they were told it was like, because it has to be a natural person, I guess not your entity, and he's like, but this is me, so they were taking his last name as an entity and not an actual person, so they had to provide proof that that is his last name. So if you have one of those cool last names, might run into that.
What about, if you run into with the, I know it's probably off, off base here a little bit, but for me it ain't. Hey, I was born 4 pound premium a month, that's my excuse. So, what about, I ran into the credit report issue of somebody using something. Years ago, it's on there and I refused, do a police report and go to Vegas and all this, and I hassled with credit bureau, and I finally got some things straightened out that I wasn't there at that place, but they still have it. It basically kind of ruined my credit, so I'm just like, well, I'm not even gonna charge or this or that, except for tribal, you know? How do you get out of that, or how do you, would I say, how could I convince a lender to, how could I convince them to give me a loan, a small one, say if it's only 2,000 or something, you know, something small. Well, to me, that's small. So, you know, just to get those highs, go 4 or 5, and then I'm good to go. Without any doubt. How do I get past that of saying, hey, between what happened with this stuff stolen, with the artwork and all this other thing on the guy in feet, and then this other thing that happened in Vegas, part of it, I haven't did the police report because I can't go back and forth to Vegas.
Yeah.
How do I get through that to convince some sort of banker or somebody that, hey, go ahead, you know, with that as a credit thing?
Yeah.
That before that, it was super, I was just almost up to 800 there. I mean, I was looking good. Now.
I think it would be helpful just to go to the vacant.
The bank and ask, that would be a certain requirements.
Pull this up and yeah, how could I work on a loan?
I'm pretty stickler on credit scores, aren't they, for you?
Have you worked with the tribe?
Well, that, yeah, I've had, but before, the tribe, I mean, I've got excellent credit there. I've had it for years before they even started finally with the Better Business Bureau. So I've got that where I'll get it to say, hey, and I've got a few other ones, but I just don't know if they have other ideas here that something else I could put in there to override
Write a
this.
letter to the
Oh, I did all that. They, no, they want me to, I mean, they called me. Some loan got whatever collections on it and I didn't even know about it and what, and I called a guy in Seattle and he just screamed at me collections. I'm like, hey, I'm like, I'm talking to you, I know it wasn't me, so I finally got the address on my credit thing that said, no, I was never there at that place. They know it. I submitted this other thing. I mean, they've got the evidence. They know it wasn't me, but they're wanting to file the police report before they'll take it off my credit. And we're like, oh, thank you. But I've already, this can go up high if you want, you know, on some apartment I never lived at and then alone. I know you want me to spend how many thousands to drive or fly there for your court case with that or then some, you know?
It'll go off your credit report in 7 years.
I'm hoping so. I haven't, I thought so, but I'm thinking it might, and I'm just gonna make sure I don't, you know, answer any phone call or email or something on that, and it restarts that process again, but yeah, so I was kind of, that was another barrier. I was like, well, we'll just keep back and wait, and hopefully I'm still alive, and I'll be able to start pretty soon, you know, like, oh, I'm creative without, so okay, I'm ready to go. I've learned enough here, you know, I think I've got the things to make it happen here.
You might have to. If you want, like, if you want to get a lot.
Try, but that'll be okay with it.
Oh,
Up to
yeah.
5,000. So
Oh, okay.
it was just, I was waiting for a business perspective that you need to establish business credits. And I was thinking that's what I would need to do, especially if I was an LLC. And I didn't know, unless I decide to try to charge with suppliers or something I didn't want to do, but that's a establish some sort of credit. I'm thinking. I don't know. Establish credit for business. You have to, right?
Next week's class, we talk a little bit about that.
Oh, okay. I remember that. Okay. I was like, I got all kinds of questions, I just need answers.
No, the other question, yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, I know, it's.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, Mary registered for another class.
No.
I'm joking, Needham. Needham jokes. All right. I'll hush now.
But do we have any questions on the EIN?
And you can still, you can get an EIN. So say you started your business and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna try and employ someone within 6 months. When you get your EIN, you can mark that you don't have current employees, so you don't have to do it. That's another thing we didn't talk about, on the state side, Washington State, if you have employees, when you get your license, it will set you up an account. Kind of, not all the way, but it'll set you up an account where you can go and let them know if you have employees or. Or. But you can also set, and Washington State is really takes a while to get your employment one set up. So I suggest that if you plan on hiring employees within a couple of months, that you start working on it because it's taking a while. Or it is a month.
I'm kind of worried that I don't want to get into that. So I think that's why we use those programs that you can mentor or teach kids or Well, that's what it said, you know?
Then we have our UEI, so your unique entity identifier. This is a government provided number, like a tax ID number that's used to identify businesses eligible for federal grants, awards, and contracts. So this, is it fairly new?
I think it used to be called something else, maybe.
So I think it kind of replaced the Devon movement.
Yeah.
But,
It is, yeah.
but to get a,
The business license number?
no,
No, that's not.
that's a UBI.
Maybe
I think all the.
I knew it started with a U.
It's helpful, you wanna have a contract with the government or not, for your grants. Like you fires, you wanna sell for the firefighter, so a contract with the government, you can actually do that.
So what?
You have, like, if you wanna have a contract, like,
Oh,
Feeding
contract.
firefighters.
Okay,
or selling your stuff with government for, you know.
okay,
You could
government,
have that.
okay.
Or if you wanna apply for a grant, you don't have that, the federal.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just for your benefit, making business with or getting benefits from it.
So we've had a,
It's, I recommend you to really need it.
It's really good.
we had a business, miss out on a huge grant because he didn't have that number and he didn't know how to get it. And he didn't
Well, it
want
was
to,
a
he didn't
pain.
try.
So I tried 2 years ago and it was very hard to get it. And the grants are coming, people want to apply and just stop.
But it sounds to me like the EIN is the same thing as the UEI.
This is have a contract with
It's
the-
not contract, okay.
This is to make business with,
Federal government.
And you suggest we move, but our businesses, we pretty much would be,
If you were.
you cannot get a grant without it.
If you
we can't get a grant without it? Oh,
or some funding.
Yeah.
So we
Really?
did,
oh, wow.
so if you have funding from Washington State. And you went through us. And if we can grant, we will be able
Is there federal requirements that goes with that? Filing or something?
Yeah.
No.
You'll find out no matter why you try to avoid.
Well, I know it's not that I'm
Something like
trying to avoid,
You
it's
have to
just
go
like,
around and in the end, you're gonna have.
when I think I got everything we need, then there's another thing I learned, I'm like.
So, I mean, and I can imagine, so like you said. They might be that.
Yeah.
Even final, it might be. Okay. It depends on where they're doing.
Yeah, I've never heard of this, so that's the fourth thing I learned today.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot of these things. I'm glad I came.
Okay.
We have to have it here.
Oh, yeah.
We just went through our native American only grant. I talked about it. 14 years in some time to get it. You were in the native American, they have the number.
Easy, you have to have
We're
2 or
never
3
people applying.
years of business.
No. Not for you, yeah. Just, we just have them do that.
I was gonna say, in order to be eligible for a grant. we need to-
Not necessarily.
Really?
It
Depends on the
depends on the
grant.
grant requirement. You gotta find out what the grant requirement is.
That's hard, I've
You're
tried to do
confusing
that
the
online.
grants for, COVID. But different, many grants.
I did because I didn't have no income I could charge, so all kinds of money I spent. Inventory, but
That's the same problem I had with the NAVA was giving out grants. I didn't keep track of 2 years prior. I'm like, I only made like $150 profit.
Right.
Sorry.
but yeah,
And it was not even
now.
but now I keep track.
Right, now I know.
But yeah, there are still some opportunities out there. Organization.
Oh, okay.
And every grant has a.
Oh,
Alright, so we have we're almost to a break, but separate and simplify, so setting up your business checking account, this helps, or we recommend setting up a separate account that helps keep business and personal financial transactions separate. It keeps business records organized. It helps with accurate taxes and deductions. You can accept credit card payments. It looks professional, and you develop a relationship with a banker. I used to have do books for a cattle person. And he had everything together. And so it took so much time to go through every single transaction, like, is this business or is this personal? And
Yeah.
stuff. And it was like, I can't, if you want us to continue, you have to create a business account. So he did that the next year, and it went a lot better, and you know, there's still a little bit of mixing, but it just really helps keep everything organized and helps with your accurate taxes and deductions. If you're super small like me, you know, I just keep I do it on Excel spreadsheet. I don't have, you know, consistent income every month to set something up like with QuickBooks, but I just keep Excel, keep your receipts, and a different business or a different account for your business. And then, you know, what do you need to bring to the bank? You know, each bank is going to vary, but mainly your photo identification, your employer identification number, any business formation documents, ownership agreements, and your business license. We had previous participants say they had trouble opening up a business checking account. So they just opened up another personal checking account and kept it separate that way.
And I think, I don't.
At my bank, you have to have 200 in there at all times. Protecting your business, so the basics of general liability insurance, this is sometimes called small business liability insurance or commercial liability insurance. It provides insurance coverage for your business against claims made by others, including bodily injury, damage to property, or personal injury. So we just recommend, you know, assessing your risks, finding a reputable licensed agent, shopping around and reassess every year. Depending on what industry you're in, it's going to, you know, affect how much your insurance is. You know, for a small virtual bookkeeper, I'm assuming it's gone up since then, but last I know it was $350 for the year. Where, you know, someone who works in construction is paying $800 quarterly for their insurance. I imagine Head Start insurance is a lot because you're working with kids, children,
Commercial kitchen.
yeah. So it definitely depends on your industry on how much your insurance is going to cost. Some people like to go with who they have, you know, their car insurance, they offer, you know, business insurance. Just shopping around and finding what fits your business best.
Do you guys recommend any different local insurance people that
We give a list of insurance.
Oh, okay.
The county.
Okay, so we can provide a list. I like this.
Pretty much,
Quietly.
they will ask you why would you put it. Especially when you know everybody is like,
Yeah.
hey, don't you give them without saying.
Yellow highlight, red highlight.
Yeah.
All right, just a quick knowledge check and then I know I cut into the lunch. So what does UEI stand for?
Nick. Lights.
Yes, so.
C.
Awesome. Okay,
Oh, didn't even see the answer, so it's in there.
Me neither. I can't see it if Can't see.
I'm sitting there close, next one.
It's going to do, okay, so let's do, is till 1 o'clock okay with you guys?
Yeah.
Is that? Let's break it till 1. I was like, it's about 17 minutes or if we need longer, that works. I just have to do the next code demonstration and that's kind of it.
How long will that take? I think you guys have one.
And then we're done for the day?
One wonder if we zip through it.
Yeah, we might as well, if we've only got the NAICS code left, we might as well.
Just go through it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep going?
How long do you
We
think
can-
that'll take? Yep, you guys want to take a little break? No?
No, we can keep going. I just don't want, I just.
You want water?
Oh, just kidding. Okay, so backing the code, how to find your next codes.
He's second, am I leaving?
No.
Sorry.
You were struggling with that juice too.
Did you?
Oh.
I like it. Really weak lately.
My wrist is so bad.
The lids on are ridiculous.
Okay.
I think they're working the boat.
With a hole in my hand trying to open that.
So mad. So I call this the NICS code, like. NICS. I always tease my mom because she always says, she says NACS, and then she always says,
I wonder if that, I say now, because
she says Netflix. I'm like, you mean Netflix? She's like, yeah, I said that, Netflix. Netflix.
say nine.
Okay, so the NACS, just kidding, the North American Industry Classification System. This is the standard used by federal statistical agencies and classifying business establishments for the purpose of collecting, analyzing, and publishing statistical data related to the U.S. business economy. We're going to go to the census.gov and we're going to go to the Census Business Builder. This is just a slide to show you how to get to that CBB. So we're going to go to census.gov, data and maps, data tools and apps, and then down to the CBB. For this demonstration, I am going to use a coffee shop, but I'm going to show you how we get there. Let me get out of here. Okay, so we're going to the census.gov. And when we get, all right. I'm gonna go to your NICS code. And then so when we get here, you're going to it says to enter a keyword or two to 6 digit code. So we're gonna enter a keyword. Emphasis on word, you just wanna put one word in there, it will not recognize two, and it'll come up with 0 results. So I am just going to put in, copy. Okay, so it came up with the 38 records, some have the same, code, it's not 38 different ones. But we have coffee farming, coffee concentrates, manufacturing and so on, and I'm like, I'm not into the coffee farming, I just wanna run a coffee shop. We have, I don't wanna manufacture anything. So you're gonna just kind of scroll through these codes until one of them kind of pops out to you. Roasting coffee, some more manufacturing, iced coffee, coffee filters. And so kind of go through these and like, all right, so we have, coffee carts, mobile, we have beverage, coffee, juice, soft drinks, at a fixed location, a coffee shop, on premise brewing, like, okay, that sounds like what I want, or what I am. So we click that, it's gonna give us our code, the title, and then it's gonna give us the definition or the description of it. So when you get to this part, when you're looking up your own code, you're going to, when you read through that and you're still not, 110% sure that this is your code, it has illustrative examples that can help solidify your decision. And if it's still unsure, they have cross references. So if you follow and look through the cross references and something kind of makes more sense to your industry, and you're like, all right, you can follow that code. And they also have corresponding index entries. And this usually always helps me, solidify that this is the correct code. So these all belong to the same code. So once we have our code, we know what, we know what we have. We are going to go back to the main.
Question.
Yes.
Before you get too far, I wanted a clarification on if we're creating products, then can we use per se manufacturing? Or is that mainly for commercial type business?
I don't think what we want to do. Create.
Okay, I wasn't sure, but my mind is manufacturing, making. I don't know how they think on this, so.
I think we can classify it differently. Because it's
Okay.
different parts. You
Mhm,
could probably
okay.
ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So, oh, yeah.
Like, this is what I do, this is what I make.
I never asked that.
I haven't either.
So I wouldn't go more
Good
into
idea.
sewing, since I'm sewing the gloves, I wouldn't go more that way in more detail because it's a pillow creating, or because I have that Native American beadwork with it.
I
It
think
can
it's a
be
piece of
all
art.
over.
I wouldn't consider it like.
Okay.
But you could.
Yeah, but no, I don't. I don't keep it. I want to keep it more indigenous. Uncolonized.
I think that the screen that I'm on is kind of making it look different because it's usually laid out across here, but we're gonna go to data and maps, down to data, tools and apps. And then we're gonna scroll to the Census Business Builder. The alphabetical. Oh my God. Oh.
They told you.
That chat.
Forget all the rest of this.
Yeah.
Just ask
It'd be like to be
Class
old school. Um, The CBB offers small business owners selected Census Bureau and other statistics to guide their research for opening or expanding their business. Okay. We want to go here. Now, let's cross our fingers it works.
I look through that again.
Oh, oh, well, that was fast.
So this is gonna bring up this data? for our
Yeah.
business?
So in the upper left in the custom industries, this is where you want to put your code. I forgot, 722515. And then we could do Washington State, but it's so. I'll be creating a report and this report could be done for statewide data, or you can narrow it down to county. So for here, let's go to county and. What county are we in? Okay.
Okay.
See if I can spell that.
Yep, okay, and OGA.
This side of
It's a
the,
lot of internet.
on this side of the line, so the O, but on the other side of the line, it's
There you
A.
go.
That's how it was with the Yakima. I kept getting confused. I was like, I was with the
There's a lot of data, but, yeah, so it's a little stuff. Hey, when you- come on, when I do it, and I'm talking- I said, what was it?
I'm not gonna be able to get off my computer when I get home. Once
I
I get home.
just switch this activity around.
For now, now I should go there and verify it. That's one thing though, you have to verify some of the info.
Anything off.
Well, this is telling us that there's 15 establishments in this county, and so we want to go down and create a report.
So statewide or county, will it do cities or towns so you can get more data that's related to your geographic?
But Metro
The
City.
data that is collected here, sometimes when you go down to cities, they're sort of like, I wouldn't think that format.
That's that
It's
info.
gonna happen, because this data is collected by a survey, right? It's collected by a survey, so it doesn't have every. And the smaller, search engine you want it, the less data you're gonna get before they want this and everything, businesses. So like, the business might be included in the whole Washington state, but say in Oakland County, there's only one coffee shop. They're not gonna publish that data because it's identifiable, right? Because if there's only one coffee shop in the town, then the information is all about that. So,
Oh, okay. So how do you? Might be also at the end, but that's nothing new. So how when I do my business plan with this, I just use that type of information, even though it's quite generalized, not pinpointed so much for my area, and it still works as a business plan?
so.
If that makes sense. I know I talk like that a lot of times.
That's a great question, but just by.
I hear that, yeah.
Just by you, researching that and putting the information that you got from you. So you would say in your business plan
Open on county.
there's 50,000 people in Illinois, and per, CBB sensitive.gov.com,
Oh, okay.
where you're getting. They would look at that. They would not necessarily go and fact check you, but because you could, where you got the information and what information you're using, it would demonstrate that you researched your condition.
So does that, to you, when you do that, and I'm writing it in the description, whatever paragraph thing, does that go on the back of the appendix too? A list like you do essays or whatever, no? It doesn't, okay.
I don't think,
I know, I'm kind of getting off, but, well, it's there, I saw that.
I think you're overthinking it.
I do,
And that's
I'm an analytical thinker, and it's hard for me, and
and it,
so,
it's a barrier to.
It
and
is.
It's a barrier to a lot of people, because you're thinking you can solve the business.
I just, yeah,
So if someone's requesting a business plan for you to get funding or whatever it's for, right?
mhm,
If you give them a business plan and you didn't answer their question, they're just gonna call. They're not going to, they're not gonna stop you.
it was like, I worry, I'm not gonna know the answer, because I have no idea what question they're gonna ask.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, so
Yeah.
I think you're really overthinking that.
I am, I know I am.
And we do that, we do that. The business plan, I think, is a big barrier for a lot. Because we think that we have to have.
Mhm.
Before we can open it.
Or McDonald's, man.
Yeah, it's sort of an old fashioned deal where a lot of people will go into business now without a business plan, and then maybe they make one up later once they have a better idea of what their goals are and how things are working. Once they need one, they don't have to have it before they start necessarily.
So you don't really, your program doesn't really encourage everybody all to get in that business?
It's not like a first step that you have to do before you get into business. It's something we can help people out with as they go along.
There's a program, the work teach with special and called Touch Simple. And it gives you the basis of when you're gonna start a business, what say you have to do, how you manage a budget. And that tells you when you're in business, you're gonna have a lot of things. When we're starting business, usually we want the best and this and that. Then we come to realization that not everybody has the money to buy the best. Start offering things that people want, identifying what sells, what doesn't sell, and then when you have an idea of the business, then you can go about it.
So you do that one-on-one?
Yeah.
Simple, start simple.
Mhm.
And most businesses that we help are not, going out to, I'm gonna say most businesses are like.
Yeah.
And most businesses are self-financed. We do have India, which is a great program, and I know a lot of people that work with India, and they have the great business. I don't let that stop.
Yeah, I heard it's more relaxed than over the river here, bank type situation. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where I kind of my route, my credit thing that happened, I was thinking, go in that direction if I don't need my own resources or, people told me, but I don't know. I've got options, I just trying to get my ducks in a row.
And then just for another thing, maybe business center, we're not even promoting the business plan anymore.
Hmm.
Sister Sky has developed a portfolio of maybe business canvas that we use, and that's another vehicle like the business plan that is accepted at senior.
Is that online or you offering workshops or what? That,
We have a training program.
is it online with people, no, home? How do you, find out about that through the Native Business Center or what, or no?
Yeah, maybe business.
Native Business Center.
We're trying to find
Canvas.
this vehicle right now to provide it, to provide the training. But it's another, I don't know. It's something that was kind of replaced the business plan in a lot of. People. Especially for micro. Thinking, starting the business. But we shut off.
And when we do the Indian Equity Fund grant in Montana, they use Submittable and there's a place to upload your business plan, but it's not required. But the people we were helping, we made them. But it was not, we're not a requirement for the grant, they just wanted the financials.
Usually the funding people, all they want is the financial or your tax.
They want to know you're going to be able to make the loan payment.
The business plan, and that's part of the business plan, and that's what they say they want the business plan, and, but really, and they really just want.
I'm not scared on that. I know that counting and all that, that's a piece of cake. That's a piece of cake for me doing that, but yeah, okay.
So in this report, you're gonna find information about your customers. It's gonna give a summarized demographic information for Okanagan County. It provides a snapshot of the makeup of the community of potential customers in the area. Then it'll give us some business summaries and business comparisons and consumer spending. We scroll down here, so it's gonna give us, the total population of 43,000. So you can kind of see in this map here that population has increased slightly over the years, which, may help in the demand for people wanting coffee. But if you were wanting to open up a daycare, okay, this data might not be the best because it shows a decrease in percent of those that are under 5. It gives us different information about. Yeah.
Yeah, they're declining that, like, I want out of the house.
Medium household income, average income, and so on. Some of this data might be relevant to your business. And you can always use these graphs too on the side to insert to your, if you wish, to your business plan. But
You can incorporate those in the business part, you said, that'd be quite.
yeah, if you want to use a graph or fill up space.
Yeah.
You're smart.
Yeah, I know that.
The total number of housing units, it looks different from each county, but if you're wanting to do like let's say like a lawn care service business, you could kind of check out, this data might be useful for you. If we go down to so it's showing us that there's 12, so from 15 to 12, and there's an increase. It's been the same these 2 years here. But if we go down to the average employment per employer is 6, and the average payroll is over 25,000. So when you're building your business or you're in business and you're applying for funding or for grants, You can say, at some point, I am going to need to hire employees for my coffee shop, so I can say, at some point, I'm going to, 6 seems kind of high for the average, but I know I'm gonna need to hire at least, 3 or 4 more people to help me. And so I know about how much that is going to cost me. So, when you're doing your financials and depending on what kind of funding or grants or loans that you're applying for, this could help generate a number or amount of funding needed, or how much of that is gonna go towards hiring. But I always like to look at that for the average, and it's definitely gonna vary between, state and county. That's why I like to look at the county. Usually bigger difference in numbers. Just look at the consumer spending, kind of think where people are spending their money at, or how much. Do I have any questions on this?
Okay, that's fucking here, great.
So I think it's fun to look at that. Now I think chat can give you all this information.
So will you go put in this one, this number for me?
Here? Or in the,
3-1, 6, 9, 19.
my gosh, there's a train. It's like it came alive.
Side of the tracks, it's this way.
And you can have more than one NAICS code.
What does it actually benefit having more than one? For what purpose?
So then this code is used a lot in for government. So
Oh, okay.
that's why it was created. So if,
Oh, okay.
so if there's a government contract and public and even public.
We'll get it in a bit.
If they're looking for businesses that might provide services that they want to contract for, they will, if your company has you know, they're going to look up the company based on the tax code. But if you have a capability statement for your business saying these are the next codes that I can fulfill, then they can send it to you as a proposal.
Oh, okay.
So, there was zero.
Also, you see people with the,
Yeah, we're gonna show you ours for Sister Sky.
What is a capability statement? Is what your business is capable of doing?
Yep.
So,
See all of our next codes, those are all,
oh, okay. Oh,
And another thing that ties into contracting is that capability statement.
right.
so, and for local, those same code would work for, say you were a coffee shop and there was a fire. And they're able to provide a contract with you. If you're already set up with your UEI number, because to get a UEI number, we need to see that. You go to sam.gov
Yeah.
to get a UEI number,
Sam?
sam.gov. I know it.
You can just go to YouTube, UEI, and they'll guide you step by step. Really simple.
For like contracting. So if you've got all of these already set up and say that you're a local business, I'm trying to think something that they would like to contract for you. But, if you're already set up and there's a wildland fire and you're already using sun.gov, it's really easy for them to contact you. Whereas if you're not, then you guys go and get all that stuff.
Yeah,
Because you can run into issues.
thought about contract and things, and there's a lot, especially for veterans, but I just couldn't figure out, well, could I make that big contract?
But
Something they need.
they may
I want
contract
something.
with you.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
They have their own.
We won't force it as activity, it's kind of hard, I suppose. But we do, I might have to figure out a different activity for this, but, this one is where we have them search for their business's NICS code and then give us the description and how many establishments are there in their state with the same code. It's a lot easier when we have that. And then we also, in the package activity, we do have this like step by step with screenshots to guide you through it. Have, just to touch on our different small business resources, there's the Small Business Administration. They have a lot of helpful information on their website. I don't know about helpful anymore. We used to go in and show them how to find our local resources, and that's not even there anymore. So that was a big shocker. We found that out. And then we have, the Office of Native American Affairs. I actually went to them to see if that's even still there. Then we have, the Native CDFIs and then the Native Business Center.
Now, this is gonna be posted on your site.
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel for recording you want to.
So we could cut some stuff out. Just kidding.
Yeah.
The last one we went to a couple of weeks ago in Bellingham. They had a media guy there and they like hooked me up with the microphone, like all that. I was like, don't say it. And then I kept having that I was kind of sick and I kept having to cough and I kept going this way. And I'm like, no.
Miss the mic.
Don't go back and watch it.
I know. I'm so sorry about that.
So let me ask you, what about your agency that's, like, we have native businesses that want to develop within the native? What is the new company do for entrepreneurs?
So-
Well, you are in school.
So we provide, technical assistance, so we provide free technical assistance for Washington state businesses. We used to do it out of state too, but that was with a different contract, so now it's just Washington. They can, fill out a request technical assistance, and then we meet with them if they're able to through Zoom. And we can, some people just need someone to talk to or walk through things. I like to create like some like action plans, like, okay, like, you know, get a initial meeting in and seeing what they need or what they're wanting, and then like, okay, well, we're gonna do, you know, A, B, and C, and then start setting up, you know, meetings to accomplish those. So if they need help with, you know, business plans, cash flow projections, registering their business, getting an EIN number, getting a UEI number, oh, yeah. Or if they just need, you know, there's some things out of our scope, so then we would find the best first resource for them. So, you know, I get nervous when we touch on taxes and stuff, you know, or credit, I'm like,
Gets really complicated really fast, yeah.
yeah,
And you're based on Spokane?
yeah, the headquarters are in Spokane.
We're mainly, but most of our technical assistance is provided, remotely.
We can find some time to live on American culture, looking to us much.
Huh?
We find out that Native American culture doesn't trust much in business technology.
We do. we really-
We can help build that trust too, you know, if you send them to us, we can, almost, or, you know, get them are comfortable or have, you know, get our trust in. Let them know that they
Are
can
you
trust you.
sure there is that influential person within this line? Hey. Call.
They will help you when they're there to help. But that was another thing with, when we had that other contract was they, you know, wouldn't reach out to their local resource or the SBA local resource, to where we would do the handouts with them, like make the connection, you know, send an email with the, you know, CC, and I introduced everybody. And
Is Lou still working for?
He is, yeah. He works part-time with us. He lives up in the Met House, comes down about once a week.
You might not like this, but it's me and I'm gonna say it anyway. I think that's, one of my barriers too, is because I've tried to work years ago with him and that was TV, but I understand where I was at from the polls and all.